Hello students, today we are going to continue with the same chapter started last week. It was operators in Java. Now when we have already discussed various types of operators used in Java, this week we are going to proceed further with it. Before we further proceed, we have certain queries which were asked from P of the students. The first question, where the value of x is given as 3, the value of y is given as 7, and we need to solve the given expression for the value of x. It is given as x minus is equal to x plus plus minus plus plus y. So we are going to rewrite it because the shorthand assignment operator was given. We are going to rewrite it in a normal form. So it becomes x is equal to x minus x plus plus minus plus plus y. Now substituting the values for the given expression. The current value of x is 3. Next is a postfix operation, so it will still remain as 3, and the next is a prefix operation where the value will be changed first. So the value is 8. So as a result we get an expression which is 3 minus 8. Now going with the precedence of operators. Now what is this? We are going to discuss it in this module. So what do we get? We get 3 minus 8 is solved first, so it becomes 3 minus 8 is minus 5. So 3 minus 5 is going to give you 3 plus 5, which is equal to 8. So the final answer is 8 for the given question. Next query asked is to write the differences between equal and double equal. So let us discuss the differences. Equal is an assignment operator, whereas double equal is a relational operator. The purpose of usage. Equal is used to initialize the values to a variable, whereas double equal is used to compare the operands for equality, and the result is always Boolean, either true or false. So this was the answer for the second query. Now let us start with the original topic for the week, which is the precedence and associativity of operators. Fine. Precedence of operators. Now whenever an expression is given for us to solve, there can be a number of different operators which are mentioned in the expression. Example, it can be a plus sign, it can be a minus sign, it can be modulus remainder, it can be division or anything else. So every operator, each operator in the expression has its own priority. Like we do it in maths, we have BODMAS as a rule. BODMAS means brackets of division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. This is how we solve it. So every operator has its own priority. So in computers, in Java, we also have the priority set for each operator, and this priority is actually the precedence. Now the second term is associativity. Now there can be certain operators which have the same precedence, means they have the same priority. Then how it will be solved? Now it will be solved either by operating them from left to right or from right to left. It is predefined. So this is what we call as associativity. Now these two taken together is what we call as the order or sequence in which the operators will be executed in a given expression. So let us discuss it further. Now if you see it on the screen, I have given you a table in which we have 3 columns. First is various operators, the second column is the type of operator, and the third column is the associativity. So this is how we solve the operators. In the initial goal, like it happens in mathematics, the brackets are solved first. So we have the first priority given to the brackets. Then we have unary operators, arithmetic operators, and the various other operators. Now what you need to notice is the associativity which is given in the third column. Let us pick up one example. Let's talk about the third priority, which is the arithmetic operator, which are multiplication, division, and modular division. Now these 3 operators have the same precedence, they have the same priority. So if they all together come in a given expression, we are going to solve them from left to right. So this table is illustrating the precedence and the associativity of operators. Now this topic is a very important topic for the given chapter, because whenever a given question will be there in the exam where you have to get the resultant output, you need to solve it following the rules of precedence and associativity. So kindly make it sure that you understand it. Moving ahead, let us pick up one more example from the last module, because when I explained it earlier, there was a bit of problem which you might have faced. The question was, the value of A was given as 5 and the value of B was given as 9, and we need to calculate A plus is equal to A plus plus minus plus plus B plus A. That means the final value of A has to be calculated. Remember, shorthand assignment is there in this particular expression also. So let's rewrite it in normal form. So A is equal to A plus plus minus plus plus B plus A. Substituting the values, the correct value of A is 5. Next is a postfix operator, so it becomes 5 plus plus. So the result is again 5. Then we have an increment operator, that is plus plus B. So the value of B will be incremented or it will be changed, and then it will be used. So it becomes 10, and then again the value of A is used. Now after the postfix operator, the value of A has changed. So the new value is 6. Now once I am going to solve it, the expression now becomes 5 plus 5 minus 10 plus 6. How to solve it? We are going to go through the precedence. Remember, the shorthand assignment or the normal assignment even happens towards the end. I'm going to continue further with the normal thing first. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to solve it using it. 5 plus 5 minus 10. 5 plus came up with the shorthand assignment. So I'm going to keep 5 as it is. Now 5 minus 10 will be solved first. So the end result is minus 5. Plus 6 remains the same. So before I work with the first 5, I am going to talk about minus 5 plus 6. Minus 5 plus 6 will give me plus 1, because the sign with the larger value is plus. 6 minus 5 is 1, so it becomes plus 1. Now 5 plus 1 will be solved further and the end answer will be 6. So the final answer is 6. So in this example, you can actually correlate with the precedence and associativity of operators. Moving ahead, we have another operator to be discussed, that is new operator. Now new operator is actually used to allocate memory for the object. Now classes and object is what we need to discuss in Java. Java, being an object-oriented programming language, deals with a class and its object. What is an object? Object can be any real world entity, and a class is a collection of similar objects. Okay, so let us go through this code. The code is scanner SC. Remember, scanner is one of the class, and I am writing SC as one of its object. So class name followed by the object name. So I have written scanner SC. Now this object name is equal to new scanner system.in. So what is this new operator doing in here? It is actually allocating the memory for the object of the given class. So this is what the function of new operator is. We can rewrite this given thing in this form also, where I have written it as scanner SC is equal to new scanner system.in. Now what is this all about? We are going to deal with scanner class in the later stage, wherein we are going to take the input from the user on the terminal window. But I have taken this example so that you get in touch with the scanner class. So what do? We use new operator in order to allocate the memory for a given object. Next is a dot operator. So a dot operator is actually used to access the data members or the member methods of a given class. Now let me take the same example. So I am writing this code for you, wherein I have created the object of a given class, that is scanner SC. Scanner is the class, SC is the object name, and I have allocated the memory for the object by making use of new operator. So SC is equal to new scanner system.in. Now finally I am going to use the dot operator. Now in the scanner class we have certain predefined methods which can be used in a given program. Now in order to call those methods, because it belongs to a particular class, we need to make use of dot operator. So if you see the next statement on your screen, it is int x. I have taken a variable x of integer type and I have initialized it as sc dot next int parenthesis. Now this S is the object name followed by a dot operator, and then next int is the actual method of the scanner class. So if I have to call the method of a given class, I have to use the object name, but then an operator is also required, which is dot operator. So the question comes, what is the purpose of using a dot operator? A dot operator is used to access the data members or the member methods of a given class. So this is what it does. Another example, double y is equal to sc dot next double. Now next double is another method of the scanner class. So I'm calling this method by making use of dot operator. So I hope you are able to understand the use of it. So two new operators, that is, one is itself a new operator and the second one is a dot operator. New operator for allocating the memory for the object, and dot operator to access the member methods of a given class. Okay, now we move on to the next topic, that is expression. Now it is a combination of values, variables, operators, maybe the method calls, which is written according to the syntax. Now what is syntax? For any language there are certain rules which governs the formation of statements in the language. Let's take the example of English language. When we talk about English language, it has got its own rules for the formation of sentences, that is grammar. English grammar is actually the syntax for the English language. Similarly, for any given programming language, there are certain rules to give the instruction or to form the statements. That set of rules is actually the syntax. Now expression can be of three types: arithmetic expression, string expression, Boolean expression, or logical expression. Arithmetic expression contains the arithmetic operators, which is going to result in a numeric value. String expression contains the string values in it, wherein we are going to talk about non-numeric values or literals. Boolean expression or logical expression is going to deal with the values which are going to result in some Boolean result like true or false. Arithmetic expression can be of three types. It can be integer, it can be real, it can be mixed. Integer expression contains all the integer values and the result is also an integer. Real expression contains fractional values in it and the result can be fractional. Whereas mixed expression can have both integer and real values. That means a mix of integer values and the fractional values as a result. Okay, so that brings us to the next topic, that is type conversion. Remember, Java permits the mixing of the constants and variables of various data types, but then it has to follow certain rules. Now, if we are talking about a data type which is of a larger storage capacity, we are going to convert it into a lower storage capacity data type forcefully. Whereas if we have data types of lower storage capacity, it is automatically converted into a data type of larger capacity. Now what does that mean? Let us discuss it further. We are actually talking about a topic which is called type conversion. Type conversion is actually related to the data types. Now if we are trying to convert a given data type into another data type, that is what we call as a type conversion. It is of two types. The first one is called implicit conversion or widening. It happens automatically. What happens in this case is that we have a variable which is storing the result of a particular calculation. Now the variables on which we are performing the operation are actually of a data type with lesser storage capacity, but automatically it will be stored in a data type where the storage capacity is more. Let us take an example. Here if you see, we have two variables x and y of integer type, but then the result of a calculation performed over x and y is stored in a variable z which is of double type. Remember, integer is a data type which has lesser storage capacity, whereas double data type is a data type which has larger storage capacity. So this variable z is going to automatically store the result of the product of x and y. This is what implicit conversion means. the integer data type, the result of the calculation of it is automatically converted into double data type, which is of larger storage capacity. So here, though the values of x and y are both integers, but the final result is automatically given as a double value, as double is the largest, and hence this data type is converted in this expression. The second type of conversion is explicit conversion, which is also called typecasting or narrowing. What happens in this case? In this case, we have the values to be calculated of largest storage capacity, and we are trying to store it in a data type which has a lesser storage capacity. Let's take an example. We have two variables t and s of double data type. We are performing a calculation over it, and we are trying to store it in a variable of integer data type. If you see it on the screen, it is the variable d. What we are doing here, we are writing within parentheses int in front of the calculation. This means that we are trying to do it forcefully. The compiler is not doing it automatically, but we are doing it forcefully. So this is what explicit conversion means. The conversion which is done forcefully is explicit, and the conversion which happens automatically is implicit. Here, though the values of t and s are both double values, but the final result is forcefully given as integer value if you see the parenthesis. So let us discuss it one more time. We are talking about implicit conversion. See this diagram. Here what we are trying to do, we are trying to pour the water contained in a glass into a jar, into a jug. Now if you see, the capacity of a glass is lesser than the jug, so we can easily pour the water into the jug. So this happens automatically. But in the second case, that is explicit conversion, we have a jug or a jar full of water, and we are trying to pour the water contained in it into a glass. Now what do you find here? Try to observe it. Glass, the capacity of a glass is lesser than that of a jug. So if we are going to try to pour the content of the jug into the glass, it is going to overflow. So we cannot contain the content of the jug or the jar into the glass. So we have to somehow do it forcefully. So this is what this conversion is all about. Whenever we are trying to store the result of a lesser storage type into a data type of larger capacity, it happens automatically. But when we are trying to store the data type of larger storage capacity into a data type of lower storage capacity, it has to be done forcefully. So we have two types of conversion, that is implicit and explicit. Moving ahead, we are going to discuss about the last topic of the chapter, that is the difference between print and println. Now both these things are for the output, that means to display the result on the screen. So let us discuss it in short. We have the difference between print and println. Now print statement is actually going to display the result, the content whatever it is displaying, in the same line after the last execution, whereas println is going to display the result in a new line. Whatever was displayed earlier, it is going to stay in the same line, and the current execution, the current display is going to happen in a new line. This is the difference. Print happens in the same line, println executes the result in a new line. Now let us take an example. We have a code wherein I have used system.out.print Stella, then system.out.println Maris. Now if you see, I have used print. Like I said, after the last display there will be no change of line. So what you observe, Stella Maris should come in the same line, whereas in the case of println I have taken the same example. I have used println in the first statement. So what will happen, Stella and Maris should come in two different lines. So let us see the output. If you see the output under print, Stella Maris is coming in the same line, whereas in the case of println it is displayed in two different lines. This is how the display occurs on the terminal window or on the output screen. So print and println are very much different from each other in respect to the kind of display they have on the terminal window. Now with this explanation we come to the end of today's topic, and we move forward with the assignment. You have to do the following questions in the same notebook, in the fair notebook where you have done the previous work. The first question is, what are precedence and associativity? We are talking about operators. We have very well discussed it in the module, so you can always write the answer for this question. The second question, what is type conversion? How is implicit conversion different from the explicit conversion? So please go through the explanation and write the answer for the same. The next question is, you need to write the differences between print and println. This is the last thing that we have discussed today. So please write the answer for the same. And the last but not the least, the question is for the numerical, where the value of x is given as 7 and you have to calculate the value of the following expression. So kindly work upon all these questions and complete your work in the same fair notebook where you have completed the last few questions. So with this, we come to the end of the current chapter, and I believe you are taking care of yourself. Stay safe, stay home, and complete your work. You will be asked to submit your assignment soon. So kindly work upon it. Thank you so much, students.